Why don't you tell them what we're doing?
Okay. So William bought something called Game Mechanics Kit for Torque 3D. It's like a little plugin that allows you to do stuff in the game without needing to know how to program. But unfortunately, the installation instructions, they involve a lot of programming, and a lot of people had issues getting it working, including William. So I went through and I made a tutorial on how to get Bullet installed with Torque 3D, and how to install Game Mechanics Kit and GameBot. GameBot is like an extension to
GuideBot.
GuideBot. GuideBot is like a expansion of Game Mechanics Kit. And so this is the process to get all of them installed. Also, just to let you know that even after this tutorial, there are issues with Game Mechanics Kit. May not be related to Bullet, the version of Bullet we're using, but we'll touch on that and show you what's wrong. It's some soft body support and texture issues, but all in all, this installation guide will get Game Mechanics Kit and GuideBot working with Torque 3D and Bullet. Alright, so here we are in the Torque toolbox. I have created a new project called Wolf. I created the template as a full template. The first thing we are going to do is install Bullet. Here is the Torque 3D install directory. We're going to go to Engine, Lib, and you can see the Bullet library right there. I have downloaded Bullet 2.8, as you can see here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rename this to bullet.old. I'm not going to use it. As we can see, we're just going to, we only need really the source folder. We don't need any of this extra stuff. So I'm going to copy everything like that. I'm going to create a new folder, call it Bullet, and I'm going to paste the files in. Next, we need to get the projects working. So inside our Bullet folder, you'll find the MSVC. We go in there, Visual Studio 2010, that's what we're going to be using. So here's all the project files. So the ones that we need, absolutely need, are the collision. We need the VCX project and the VCX project.filters. We need those for the collisions, dynamics, soft body, and linear math. So we're going to copy them. And now we are going to take them into your projects, into Wolf, or what yours is, build files, Visual Studio 2010, projects. So here's all the project files for your game. So we're just going to paste them. So we got all of them right here. So this is step one. Next, we're going to have to edit all of these files. I have Notepad++ installed. This will simplify things greatly. So I can just right-click, edit with Notepad++, and it has loaded all the files in for us. Okay. So now the next thing we have to do is, if you see these right here, these dots, this is the incorrect path. So what we need to do is we need to go back to our Torque 3D directory, Engine, Lib, Bullet. So copy this path. Go back in here. We want to go search, replace. We want to find that, and we want to replace it with that. Just a simple replace all. 31 occurrences replaced. So we want to go ahead and do this with every single file. This will have it point to the correct files. Save all. So now we have gotten all of the project files for Bullet fixed. Except there is one issue. What you'll find out later when you try and compile it, you'll encounter a lot of errors. Now, the problem is this guy right here, Bullet Multithreaded. There was no project for him in the Bullet source files, in the project files. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a copy of Bullet Collision here, and I'm going to rename it Bullet Multithreaded. Same thing with this one. Bullet Multithreaded. Now I'm going to open both of these. And just close these. So let's go to the VC project one first. Now we want to change this project GUID. I just put like an 8 at the end. Just make it unique. And now we want to go all the way down here. Actually want to search, replace, find Bullet Collision, replace with Bullet Multithreaded. Same thing with this one. And so we're going to go down here. All of these things in the item group, we're just going to delete them. We're going to add them inside the builder, inside Visual Studio. So we're just going to delete them right now. Save that. Now the same thing with this guy right here. All these filters and everything. Everything inside item group, delete. Make it blank. Okay, so now we have the projects mostly set up. Okay, now we're going to go back to the Torque toolbox. We're going to go to our project. We're going to click Edit Source. We want Visual Studio 2010. Yeah, okay. Visual C++. 2010. Okay, so Visual C++ 2010 will have loaded, so you'll need this installed. Now, one of the first things we'll need to do is, if you haven't used this before, you're not going to find a build menu up here. What you want to do is you want to go into Tools, Settings, and make sure Expert Settings is clicked. This will bring forth the build menu, which is important. This will let us build everything. So now what we need to do is we need to add the Bullet projects. So right click, add existing project to the solution. Now we will need to go down to C Torque 3D, my projects, your build files, Visual Studio, projects. So now this is where we get to add everything, but we can only do it one at a time. Add existing project, dynamics, multi-threaded, soft body, and linear math. So now we've got all of these added. We want to go down to our DLL file. We want to go right click it and go to Project Dependencies. And we want to make sure it depends on all of these guys, all the Bullet stuff. Oops. What this will do is when we build our solution, it'll make sure that these are all built before our project. it'll create errors, linker errors, if they're not built beforehand. Next, we have to get bullet multi-threaded working. So one of the first things we need to do is we need to right-click it. We want add new filter. Call it SRC for source. Then we want bullet multi-threaded. You can just click F2 and control copy. And then add new filter, bullet multi-threaded. Next we want the GPU soft body solvers. SPU narrow phase collision task. SPU sample task. And let me see, nothing in there. And GPU solvers. I don't think we need these. Let's just add them just in case. Some of you guys might want to use it. Okay. Actually, okay, never mind. I'm not even gonna bother. William, erase this part of the video. Okay. So we got these right here. So now we need to add, right-click, add existing item. So we're going to add the SPU narrow phase. So we're going to go back. We're going to go to Engine, Lib, Bullet, Source, and then bullet multi-threaded, SPU narrows phase. We're going to add them all except the README. Sample task, add existing. And then the base folder, add existing. We need to remove that one. Okay. And that one. So now we got the bullet multi-threaded libraries added. So we can test it, right-click build. And it will build. And succeeded. So as you can see, as we go through each of the bullet, they're going to succeed. Build. Okay. Next, we're going to go to the engine here. So our DLL file, we're going to go to Engine, T3D, Physics. Now, there is something missing here. Because if we go into, where is it here? The source, we'll back up out of here. So we're in the, the Torque 3D engine. We're going to go down to source. It's Torque 3D, or T3D, Physics. As you can see, there's a folder for bullet. But there isn't here. So we're going to have to create it. Add new filter, bullet, add existing, engine, source, T3D, physics, bullet, and we're going to add all the files. There we go. And I believe that is all that we need to get bullet working source-wise. So let me just go build solution, and we'll see what happens. Alright, so for failed, let's go ahead and build again, see what's failed. Bullet. Oh, yes. I have made a mistake. Okay. So, it's all nice and good adding all the bullet libraries. But the DLL, what happens is, first we'll right click, go to properties. We will go to C++. Oh, here it is, the VC++ directories. So it needs to know, so when it compiles, it needs to know where to find the include in library, the include files in the finished library. So we need to tell it that. So we're going to go back to Torque3D, engine, lib, bullet, source. Copy that. Come back here, see include directories, paste it in there and put a semicolon after it. And copy that. And we want to go through for all of our projects now and add it in to each one, all three. Apply. Next, we want to tell it the library directory. This is, we go one back, lib. So this is where everything's been built, as you can see. We want to copy this, paste, add the semicolon, copy that again, and go back to each of these. Apply. So now we've told it where to find the library files and where to find the include files, the header files, the .h files. We also need one other thing. We need to tell it to link to the library. So we're going to go down to the linker settings, input. I'm just going to go drop down, I'm going to do edit. And so as you remember, all these libraries right here, bullet collision debug lib. So configuration debug, so here's the bullet collision debug library. The dynamics, multi-threaded, soft body, linear math. So you've got all 5 of these added. So we're going to click OK. Go down to Optimize Debug, Edit, add those in again, click OK. We're going to go to Release. Now Release is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to have the underscore debug. So let's just remove them. OK. Apply. So now we have told it which libraries to link it to. We told it where to find the libraries, and we told it where to find the .h files. So now when we build it again, it should build properly. Library. And succeeded. The only one that failed was the web plugin, and that's fine. So now we have Bullet completely compiled in and working. there is just one more change we need to make. So if we go into our projects folder, we're going to go into game, scripts, main.cs. We're going to open it up, go down to line 83 to the physics in it, and we are going to type bullet in quotation marks inside there. Save it, and we are done. So now when we start up our game, we will be using bullet physics. So let's go ahead and test it. I'm going to click the little play button there, and Torque 3D will start. Play, Victorian, go. As it loads, and here we are. We now have Torque 3D running with bullet. So congratulations, the first step is done. Okay, so now we're going to go into the Game Mechanics Kit. We're going to go to the T3D, and we're going to go to Engine. So we've got some source files we've got to add here. So we go to Source. So we got all of these fun files. So let's just copy and bring it over to our engine source. Now, this is only if you're using an unmodified version of Torque 3D to just copy. If you're using a modified version of Torque 3D, this is going to be a little more difficult, and he goes into using code patch right there. But we're just going to go ahead and replace all these files. There we go. So we have replaced the files. So now in the Torque 3D folder, we have a new folder here called Logicking Mechanics. Sorry. We're going to copy that name. We're going to need to add it to our project. So we're going to add to Torque 3D, add new filter, Logicking Mechanics, add new filter, physics, because there is a folder under that called physics. We're going to add existing item. We're going to add all the source files. So here's the Logicking Mechanics. We're going to add those. Going down to physics, add existing. We're going to add these. So as you can see here, there's a bullet in physics. Since this is about how to use bullet, add new filter, bullet, add existing items, bullet. We're going to add them all here. So this has added all the source files that we need. Next, see, here we go. We need to add all the game files. There's a whole bunch of them right here. So we're going to copy all of these. We're going to go back to our game directory here, and we're going to paste. And yeah, merge them all. Copy and replace. Now, previously, to install Bullet, we modified the main.cs. We're going to have to modify that again. Or we won't. Okay, there we go. Go in here and make sure that physics in it, physics, make sure that this is, not there. So if this says Bullet, you're good. There is one other thing we're going to need to do, though. We scroll down. See, we've already done all of this stuff for Bullet. Now, we need to go to this file right here. This is important. So we need to go to the Logic and Mechanics Physics, physics.h. So physics.h. See this guy right here? Since we're not using physics and physx, add 2 forward slashes to comment it out. Save. Now, let's go ahead and build our solution again. And this should complete for the Game Mechanics Kit. Okay, it did not. Let's see what I did wrong here. Oh, okay. So, callback, reference calls. So we're running into our first bit of issues. Let me try and figure this out. Okay, so that I solved it just by going build, rebuild solution. It looks like it had some old files there that was causing issues. So build, rebuild solution, and then if it still errors, try build solution again. And you should get, only one failed, which was the web thing. So that should be fine. So now we have this Game Mechanics Kit. We have it fully installed. So there we go. So now we have Bullet and Game Mechanics Kit fully installed and good to go. Okay, so now let's try out the game. We'll start it. As you can see, we have an error. So the way that you can get past this is you click retry and then you click cancel. That will make sure it starts up. So Torque 3D will now start up. Let's click the Play Orcs Rule Game. And as you can see, we've now crashed. The important thing here is we have a non-RTTI object error here. So this function right here, dynamic cast. This is a special C++ ability and is being called on Bullet. Now this is important here. People might not have noticed it, know how to fix this. So if we go into the properties of Bullet Collision, I'm going to right click, go to properties, and we need to get down to C++, and which one is it? Language. Okay, C++ language. Enable runtime type information. That is RTTI. As you can see, it is disabled. Dynamic cast requires it to be enabled for it to work. So we have to go here, we have to click yes, and release, yes. And we have to go through this on all of the Bullet projects. This is because the Game Mechanics Kit uses the dynamic cast. So by changing all of these to yes for both release and debug, we will get rid of that error. Yes. Yes. And don't forget linear math. Alright, build solution. So now it's going to rebuild Bullet with RTTI information. So this will solve the dynamic cast crash. Get started. Succeeded. Let's go ahead and play. Retry, cancel. Let's play the Orcs Rule Game. And here we are. We're loading the mission file. Further than we were. Loading the data blocks. 11. Control E to start Game Mechanics Kit. Oops. And that is not good. Okay, let's go to the editor. Alright, and Control E. So here we are, Game Mechanics Kit. So as you can see, everything is working. So there you go. This is how to enable Game Mechanics Kit with Bullet on Torque 3D. I hope this helps a lot of you out who are having issues. And there you go. Okay, let me show you a problem that we don't know what's wrong or how to solve it, but so here we go. So we're going to start it up. We're going to play the game.
I don't know what that is.
And now that everybody knows. So starting the mission, as you can see, we're simply falling. That's not good. So we're going to press F11 to go to the world editor. Game Mechanics Kit, we're going to try reload, original, and play. We just need to keep on doing this. Nope. Reload, original, and play. There we go. So you can see right off the bat, this is a little weird here. So apparently there's texture issues, and we can kind of walk through this ball, and I was able to push it through the floor. Goodbye. Yoink. So let's go ahead and grab that. See, all this stuff, it works fine. That moves, you can... So we're going to go through the door. Just going to play the cutscene. As you can see, none of the flags and stuff work right. Oh wow, this time is and we crash. Out of range right. We try bit stream, plus 217. Oh. Killed him. Whenever we kill him, we get an issue with the bit streams. CPT 217 out of range, right? And so usually though, they don't even run. All the times I've tried it, they just stand there and don't do anything. So these are some of the issues that we've run into. So next, we're going to install GuideBot Torque 3D 1.2 Beta 1. So just the GuideBot that we were given. So let's go ahead. First, we're going to need to add some files to the Logic King Mechanics GuideBot. So we're just going to copy that. So we're going to go down to our DLL file and engine Torque 3D Logic King Mechanics. And now we need to add a new filter called GuideBot, and we're going to need to copy the files. So let's go back here, Logic and Mechanics, make sure we're in the right place, GuideBot. So we need to go to Engine, Source. Actually, I'm going to do this a little weird because I'll show you why. Just a second here. Okay, so we want to go right here. So we're gonna paste. Yes, 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 yes. So we're going to copy all these over. Okay. So make sure GuideBot's there. All right. Let's go ahead and add the existing items. Mechanics, GuideBot. Add. Okay. So now, let's go in the TS folder here. We need these two guys. Paste. Copy both of them. Scene graph. Scene graph does not exist anymore. You will have issues if you try and copy it over. This is actually renamed to just scene. So go into the scene and copy these objects, these files. If you just do a blind copy, it's going to error out. And so you need to know that scene graph doesn't exist. It's now scene. And app main loop. App main loop. So we've got all the files installed now. And I don't think we need, yeah. Okay. Okay, so now we're going to do the game right here. Copy. Scripts. Okay. So we're going to copy everything from there, and let's go back to our game folder here. And paste. Alright, so now we've got GuideBot fully installed. We want to go here and do rebuild the DLL file, your game DLL. You want to do a rebuild. Since we've made changes, Visual Studio might not recognize all the changes, and you might get build errors. I did forget one thing with the GuideBot installation. So we're going to go here into our Torque 3D directory. We're going to go to Engine and Lib. This is where all the library files are. So we're going to go to our GuideBot extraction of our guide. Yeah. We're going to go to Engine, Lib. We're going to copy GuideBot and paste it in here. So next we're going to go back to Solution. Cancel the build. Okay. Add existing project. So we want to go all the way back to here, Engine, Lib, GuideBot, and we want to add our VCX project, the VCX project, since we're using Visual Studio 2010. Visual Studio 2008 will use the VC proj. So now we've added GuideBot. We want to go to our game DLL, project dependencies, and make sure we're depending on Lib GuideBot. Next, we want to go to Properties, and we want to go to the linker Additional Dependencies, and we want GuideBot D.lib for the debug. So do these for both of those. Actually, oh, this should be lib GuideBot. That's right. It's actually a little different than what the instructions say. The instructions will say GuideBot.lib, but this will actually build, lib GuideBot.lib. So we want to make sure we're using the correct, oops, oh, come on. And this one, oops, for the release. Now the instructions also want us to link, okay, engine line. Okay. So now we also need to modify our our Visual Studio directories. So we're going to add. We're going to go all the way back. Engine, lib, GuideBot, include. So we're going to copy that. Okay. We're going to do that for debug 2. Make sure the semicolon afterwards. Damn. Okay. Now we want to do the same with the library directory. So that was the include directory. You want library now. Engine lib, GuideBot, lib. Copy. There we go. There we go. And there we go. Next, linker. Okay, yeah, we already did that. All right, so there we go. GuideBot should work now. Let's go ahead and build it. Succeeded. All right. So now when we build our solution, everything should work right. So let's go ahead and try and fix errors that we encountered here with our build. So we're going to go down to Other Windows, Error List. Let's look at our warnings first. So we have a warning with sim component. So the problem is this line right here, set enabled. So when we installed the Game Mechanics Kit, set enabled had a constant. It was modified to be constant bool enabled. This one just has bool, and it's giving us an error. So let's go const bool. That will get rid of that error, or this warning, I should say. So let's look at the errors now. Okay, so we have this error here: cannot access protected member declared in class sim component. Right here, set enabled sim component.m enabled. Now the issue is that m enabled is protected, and luckily we can do there's this is enabled function. So instead of m enabled, we replace it with is enabled. So dot is enabled, and then make sure you have the 2 parentheses afterwards. Oops. So that will get rid of that error. So build. I'm going to build solution again. Okay. We have another instance of this. So is enabled. Save, build solution. Alright, so it's linking now. And And so it has succeeded. Alright. Okay, so I've done a rebuild, and GuideBot has compiled with no errors. So let's go ahead and run it. Go retry, cancel. It's a little weird because last time we had some errors, but we're doing it from scratch this time, so you guys should GuideBot. So you guys should not have the so if you're following along, you should be where we are right now. C and X tab. Okay, so here we are inside. Has a really high field of view. And we can get inside here, and there's a guy walking. Finally hit him. Okay. So I have pressed X and and now I have completely messed everything up. There we go. Stand back up. Stand. Alright. So there is that one guy, and I think that's normal. As you can see, it was sort of working. And so there we go. Now we have GuideBot installed and working. So hopefully you guys will be able to follow this tutorial too and get it working for yourself. And there we go.